I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars.
What's good? We're going to get into Monday Night Raw from August the 17th, 2026. This show was actually pretty okay for the most part. The big takeaway was the Bloodline. Sikoa is now a full-fledged babyface, which is great. The crowd erupted. That Buffalo crowd popped massively for Solo turning on Roman, turning babyface, and spiking Roman. This is great. So apparently, this is all going to be leading to WarGames, which we should know that this is where all this is going anyway. I like it. Solo being babyface to me is fine. It fits him. He has a ton of charisma and personality, which is good. And the crowd loves him. And I actually like Solo too. I think he's okay. I think he's really okay. And I do think eventually in due time we'll get some more members added to WarGames. I think it's going to be probably a 4-on-4. So probably Sikoa, LA Knight, Jacob Fatu, and Seth Rollins. Because we haven't seen Seth Rollins in about 3 weeks. So we haven't seen him in quite some time, which is actually kind of good. But he'll probably show up eventually. He might even return at Sunday night's main event. I don't know why I said Saturday. For whatever reason, Nick Khan, he's ignorant. For whatever reason he wants to call it Sunday night main event, he should have just stuck with Saturday. I have no idea why they can't do an event on Saturday, but whatever. And the World Heavyweight Championship tournament continues on. I thought that was good. And Chad Gable and Rey Mysterio tore the house down. Had an absolute television banger of a match. That shit was good. That shit was very good. So we're going to go ahead and get into the show. Let's start with the Bloodline stuff first, and then from there we'll get into the remainder of the show. All right, so the closing segment of the show was the Bloodline. So throughout the night, Jimmy and Jay were basically taking jabs at Solo and everything else and all that. So the Usos, they show up first, along with Roman. So Roman says, they say what they want. He doesn't care. Just the satisfy Sikoa pisses him off. He's a blessed man. He has everything you could ever imagine. But some say he's petty. But some don't understand how he can hold receipts for so long. But how not could he be? But how could he not with Solo? Roman says 3 years ago, the Netflix debut, he beat Solo's ass in Tribal Combat. But maybe he forgot. So they showed us a video package about what happened to Solo and Roman. Roman says Buffalo might think it's funny, but why does Solo think it's funny? He's a cool guy. Now, he got a watch, a chain. So then Roman, he yanks off Solo's glasses and thumps on him, which is hilarious. Yeah, that's why Solo looking at him eye to eye when he should be down on his hands and knees begging. So then Jacob attacks Solo and locks in the Tongan death grip. So Roman says that's what he's talking about. Let's let Solo suffer for a moment before calling enough. Solo's not funny now. He's going to have to wait a minute because Roman has business to handle right now. Roman says the twins called the play, they executed the play, and they leveled up. Roman wants it to be understood now that he, the tribal chief, and the Usos are his captains, made men, and if you disrespect them, you disrespect him. He has black guard hands handed to him by a crew member. So then Big Jim daps up Roman, same thing with Jay. So LA Knight shows up, and the Usos, they attack LA Knight and everything. LA Knight takes them out. Then Jacob Fatu locked in the Tongan Death Grip. Roman and Jacob beat up LA Knight. Then Solo, he comes back into the ring. He gets involved. And Roman says to Solo that his father's watching and his brothers are doing his job. He needs to serve his family now. So Solo grabs LA Knight and tells him he's sorry. And then he hits Roman with the Samoan spike. And that was great. So Solo stares down Roman. And then he puts his hands into his jacket and he does the finger guns. He points at his brother. And then he attacks Jimmy and Jay along with LA Knight. Solo and LA Knight, they fought off the Usos. And then Jacob Fatu basically does nothing. Roman tries to get back involved, but he's met with a BFT. And then LA Knight and Solo Sikoa, they stand tall. And that was the end of the show. So good stuff here. I actually did like this. This was great. I'm a fan of this. I really do like this. Solo did an amazing job. This felt like the Bloodline of 2022 and 2023. This was great. Good stuff here. Again, I'm fine with Solo Sikoa being a babyface. Good shit. So, really good stuff. I actually do like it. Again, I still think this is all going to lead into WarGames. Jacob not doing anything basically screams that he's probably going to eventually leave the Bloodline as well. And there could be a chance to maybe at Money in the Bank in October, maybe it's going to be LA Knight. I mean, my bad. Maybe it's going to be Jacob Fatu, the one to cost Roman the title, right? Because Jacob didn't do a damn thing during the fight at all, period. He just sat there and watched. So that's some breadcrumbs right there for you. So I do expect for LA Knight probably to win that Money in the Bank. And then maybe Roman will win it back. Maybe at the last Saturday Night's main event of the year, which is in December. So maybe that's probably how Roman will win. And, give LA Knight a decent transitional run as champion. Maybe a good 2-month run as champion. 2-month reign as champion. That's fine. Give him 2 months. It's fine. Right. So good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Moving on from that. This leaves us into the beginning of the show, which was started off by Stephanie Vaquer. She got a good reaction and everything as per usual. And so Stephanie says she's just here for her title. She's not here to talk, and everyone knows that wrestling is her first language. So she calls out Liv Morgan. She wants her title, and she wants to fight her. So the Judgment Day, they show up. So Liv says Stephanie might not feel like talking, but she has a lot on her mind. Becky Lynch claims her holding this title negates the hard work of the women who came before her. She doesn't care. She's not a champion for those women, and she's not a champion for any of the fans either. And as far as Stephanie Vaquer goes, she beat her at WrestleMania and then beat her down the next week so bad. She spent the next few months watching her win on TV, and she knows that made her sick. But more importantly, as long as Liv is here, she claims that Stephanie and Becky will never be champions again. So, Then Liv Morgan continues to talk trash about Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie Vaquer says if Liv Morgan isn't scared, why is she all the way over there instead of coming to the ring? So the rest of the Judgment Day show up. Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez, they show up, and then they attack Stephanie Vaquer and everything else, and they beat her up. Then Becky Lynch comes out to make the save. And then her and Stephanie, they have a brief stare down once again. So there is that. But Judgment Day, they come back and they beat down both Stephanie and Becky. So that's fine. Whatever. Who cares? Again, I expect for this to kind of continue on up until Sunday night's main event. I'm not a fan of really Liv Morgan not doing much of anything. Again, this shit is fine though. Good shit, I guess, but whatever. There's no sense of direction for this, right? The Judgment Day is one of the worst factions in all of WWE. So yeah. So I don't know what's the end goal here. Maybe Stephanie does beat Liv at Sunday night's main event in September. So maybe that does happen there, but I don't know. We have to wait and see. Moving on. This leads us into the Usos. They were happy about bringing Solo to Roman and all that. So they were making fun of Solo. Whatever, who cares? And then they run into LA Knight. So, yeah, whatever. Moving on. This leads us into the first match of the night, which was Javon Evans defeating JD McDonough. So Javon wins to be the OG cutter. Good stuff there. Moving on from that, my bad. Big Cass, he shows up. He attacks Javon for a third straight week in a row. And then Javon gets on the mic and he says that he wants more punishment from Big Cass. And then Big Cass beats the shit out of him some more. So there's that. Again, I don't care about this. I don't know why Triple H brought back, I don't know why I keep saying Orange Cassidy, but Big Cass. They should have left him in TNA. That's where he should have went back to. I don't know, but it is what it is. Who gives a damn? Moving on from that, this leads us into Rey Fenix. Him and El Fascal, they had a backstage promo, basically. He said, tonight he talks about finally getting a chance to fight for a world title. Fascal, for his point, talks about what an opportunity it is and how he's going to win. Because he's the law. Okay. Moving on from that, Rey Fenix defeats El Fascal. It was a really good match, so he advances in the quarterfinals. I like that. Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Again, it's going to come down to Fenix and Penta in the finals. So, brother versus brother, which is going to be great. And we all know Penta is going to win, hands down. And I'm fine with that, too. I really am. I'm actually fine with that. Why? I'm a fan of Penta. I'm a fan of Rey Fenix. But this is good stuff here. Moving on from that, this leads us into Stephanie Vaquer. She's interviewed by Kathy Kelly backstage. Stephanie says that it takes Liv Morgan 3 people to beat her. And she forgot what Roxanne Perez did to her. Becky shows up. She mocks Stephanie and tells her she's not trying to make herself a problem. Becky says as long as Stephanie Vaquer is going after the title, she's not just her next problem, she's her biggest problem. She wishes her good luck next week. So there's that. Moving on from that, this leads us into Lyra Valkyria. She has a video package talking about how unfair it is that everything isn't about her. And all she could do all the stuff that Sol Ruka does, but she chooses not to because she's smart. She's going to make sure Sol crashes and burns, and then she's going to get her title back. Okay, whatever. Who gives a damn? Moving on, Lyra Valkyria gets defeated by Sol Ruka. Sol Ruka wins via the Soul Snatcher. So good stuff there. I like this. This is fine. So it is what it is. Where's Bayley in all this? Is she really gone from WWE? I doubt it. I guess she's just taking a little bit of time off, but she might show up at Sunday night's main event. Maybe that can happen. Maybe. But I think she's just taking time off. Moving on, this leads us into more Bloodline stuff and all that. So Jacob Fonte was backstage talking about Sikoa and everything, and that was it. Moving on from that, this leads us into the Vision. They say a bunch of things. It's not really that important, so whatever. So Braun Breaker shows up. He gets on the mic. He calls out Obafemi. He said he wants to bet he's the future of this place. And if he is, he should come down right now, take it from him. So Paul Heyman shows up. So Braun wants Paul to tell him who he thinks is the future. So Obafemi shows up, gets a good reaction. Paul says that Braun's out here asking stupid questions when he knows who the future of WWE is. Paul Heyman knows it, the fans know it, and you know who else knows it, and that is Brock Lesnar. Because the future is Obafemi, and if you have a problem with the answer, you can take it up with him any day, anytime. So Braun Breaker goes to step to Obafemi, but Paul Heyman comes in between them. Paul says this is a publicly traded company, and they don't have to answer to the fans at home. They answer to the shareholders. And it's not going to be popular to say it in Buffalo, New York, but two of them in this ring understand, and that someone appears to be learning, which is a good line. Paul says after 40 years in this business, because he knows when two main eventers are in the ring, you don't just do an impromptu match to decide who the future is. The future the future understands box office, understands promoting a match to be the biggest it can be. So he's already set it up with Adam Pearce. It's going to be Obafemi versus Braun Breaker at Sunday night's main event to find out who's going to be the future of the WWE good stuff. So Braun begins to leave. So Paul shakes hands with Oba, and then Paul Heyman leaves the ring, and Braun says, "It's a pleasure doing business." And then he leaves him. So, there's that. All right, moving on from that, this leads us into Dragon Lee defeating Dr. Wagner Jr. Okay, that's fine there. Good stuff, though. It was good. So, Dragon Lee wins the match via Destination Dragon. Moving on from that, this leads us into Chad Gable defeating Rey Mysterio. He retained the Intercontinental Championship. This match was solid as fuck. This thing was great. Chad Gable is so good. Rey Mysterio is very, very good. Still at his advanced age. He's in his 50s, like early 50s. But he's moving like he's like in his late 30s. Like, it's tremendous. Those stem cells that he has in his legs are doing miracles, man. Holy shit. They're definitely doing some damn miracles, which is great. So, this match was great. I loved it. I really did. This was a really good match. I actually enjoyed it. So, Chad Gable wins via a roll-up, which is fine. The crowd was molten when Ray hit the 619s. Towards the end of the match, they were molten. They were red hot. Red hot, man. But Chad got out of that, and he ended up rolling up Ray, and then that was it. So, that was the show. Monday Night Raw, again, was okay for the most part. I like what they're doing with Sol Sikoa, so he's now a full-fledged babyface. Clearly, they're building for Money in the Bank. That's probably when we'll get LA Knight and Roman Reigns. LA Knight should definitely win. Roman can afford to lose the title. I would if I was booking the show, I'd have LA Knight be champion for the remainder of the year after he wins at Money in the Bank in October. Then you have LA Knight lose at the final Saturday night's main event of the year, maybe a week or two before Christmas, something like that. I think that would be good. Or you can have him hold it till January of next year and have him lose to Roman then. So there's that. But they are building. It's going to be the Bloodline. Jimmy, Jay, and Roman. And probably Jacob Fatu against LA Knight, Sikoa, Seth Rollins, and somebody else, if they can find a fourth man. But I do think that we are going to see Seth Rollins join WarGames more than likely. And I think that'll be good. So there's that. The mid-card stuff is fine. Vaquer is doing, I mean, she's still there just doing, what she's doing. I like what they're doing with Stephanie and Becky. I do like that. We'll probably get their match at Sunday night's main event as well. I don't care about the Judgment Day stuff. I like the World Heavyweight Championship tournament. That has been fun. That's been a bright spot on this show as well. So Raw. And I forgot to mention Chad Gable and Rey Mysterio. Man, they did very, very well. That was a great main event match to close the show, basically. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. So all in all, the show was fine for the most part. I like what they're doing. Even though they are kind of rehashing some feuds from the past, it is what it is, though. What do you guys think? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.